The annual bonding ceremony always filled the alien colony with excitement. Bright lights floated in the air, music echoed through the crystal halls, and young aliens stood in perfect lines, waiting for someone to choose them. It was supposed to be a happy day, but on the far edge of the hall stood Alira, the poor alien orphan no one wanted. She held her hands together tightly, trying to stop them from shaking. Her skin had faded markings where other aliens had bright glowing ones. Her hair fell softly on her shoulders, but the elders always said it looked lifeless. And unlike the others her age, she had no family, no clan, no power. Alira kept telling herself not to hope. Maybe this year will be different. Maybe someone will choose me. But she quickly pushed the thought away. It never happened before. All around her, young aliens whispered, "She's cursed. She will bring bad luck to whoever bonds with her. Her power never awakened. She's broken." Alira heard everything. She always heard everything. But she kept her head low and stayed silent. She had learned long ago that answering back only made things worse. The ceremony began. One by one, pairs formed. Aliens stepped forward with confidence, choosing their mates for life. Some celebrated, some cried with joy. Alira stood alone in her corner. Minutes passed. Everyone got chosen except her. Again, the hall grew quiet. People turned to look at her with pity, annoyance, even disgust. But one pair of eyes looked at her differently. A human. His name was Ethan, a visitor from Earth who had come to the colony with a small research team. He was supposed to observe the ceremony as part of a cultural exchange program. He had no idea what the ceremony really meant until he truly saw Alira. From the moment he entered the hall, Ethan noticed her. She wasn't like the others. She wasn't glowing. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't celebrating. She looked defeated, alone, like someone who had been hurt too, many times but still silently hoped. Something inside him felt tight. Ethan had seen loneliness before, but never like this. The elders stepped forward. Their voices boomed through the hall. "Bonds have been formed," one elder announced. "Except..." Everyone turned. Except Alira. Ethan watched Alira flinch when her name echoed across the hall. He saw her swallow hard, like she already knew what would happen. The elders spoke loudly, without kindness. "Alira, once again, no one has chosen you. You may leave." Those words felt like sharp stones thrown at her chest. Alira lowered her head and took a single step back, ready to walk away quietly, the same way she did every year. But Ethan suddenly felt a strange pull, a feeling he couldn't explain. As if the whole hall had gone blurry and only Alira remained clear. As if her sadness reached out and grabbed his heart before he even realized what he was doing. Ethan stepped forward. The crowd gasped. Whispers exploded instantly. "A human? He can't bond with her. This is forbidden. He doesn't know what he's doing." Ethan ignored them. His eyes stayed on Alira. She froze in place, staring at him with wide, scared eyes. She whispered, "No, don't. They will hate you too." But Ethan kept walking, slow, calm, sure. The elder shouted again, "Human visitor. Stop at once. You do not know our laws." But Ethan didn't stop. Something inside him refused to walk away. Alira's hands trembled as Ethan reached her. She looked like someone expecting pain, expecting rejection. Like she didn't believe anyone could ever choose her, not even by mistake. Ethan raised his hand carefully. He didn't grab her. He didn't force anything. He simply placed 2 fingers gently on her wrist. Just a touch. A soft, simple touch. And the impossible happened. Alira's markings, dead and faded for years, sparked with light. A soft glow. Then a brighter glow. Then a pulse of shining energy moved under her skin like awakening stars. The hall fell silent instantly. Everyone stared. Even the elders froze in shock. Her markings were glowing. Glowing for the first time in her entire Life, Alira gasped and covered her wrist with both hands. And no, this can't be happening. She breathed. Ethan stepped back in surprise, not fully understanding what he had done, but the elders understood. No human has ever activated an alien bond. One elder shouted, "This is dangerous." Another yelled, "A mistake, an error, this shouldn't be possible." But Alira wasn't listening to them. She looked at Ethan with trembling eyes full of fear, confusion, and something new, something she never felt before. Hope. Ethan swallowed and spoke softly. I didn't mean to break your rules. I just didn't want you to be alone." Those words hit Alira harder than anything else. No one had ever said that to her. The elders gathered around them, angry and frightened. Aliens backed away like Alira had suddenly become a threat. But Ethan didn't move. He stood next to her, in front of her, protecting her without even thinking. The hall buzzed with tension. Alira's glowing markings continued to pulse, brighter and brighter, responding to Ethan's presence like his touch had awakened something deep inside her, something powerful, something sealed, something the colony had feared for years. Alira whispered, almost shaking, Why did you choose me?" Ethan looked into her scared eyes and said the simplest thing, "Because no one else did." And that wasn't fair. Her glowing markings pulsed again brighter. This time, and the real story began. The hall was still glowing faintly from Alira's awakened markings, but the excitement quickly turned into fear. Elders argued, guards rushed forward. Young aliens stepped back as if Alira was suddenly dangerous. But Ethan didn't move. He stood exactly where he was, right beside her. Alira kept staring at her glowing wrist like it belonged to someone else. She never expected anything inside her to awaken. She never expected anyone to reach for her. And she definitely never expected a human to be the one who did it. The elders formed a tight circle around them, their long robes brushing the floor. One of them, Elder Risen, raised a shaking finger. "You," he shouted at Ethan. "Human, explain yourself. Why would you interfere in our sacred ceremony?" Ethan glanced at the elder, then back at Alira, whose breath was fast and uneven. "I didn't interfere," he said calmly. "I just saw someone who was being treated unfairly." Gasps filled the hall again. Alira's eyes widened. She had never heard anyone defend her. Not once in her entire life. Elder Risen pointed at Alira's glowing markings. "You activated a bond. Do you understand what that means?" Ethan hesitated. "No," he admitted honestly. "But I know she shouldn't be standing alone while everyone else walks away." Alira's hands trembled even more. Her entire life, no one had stepped forward. No one had even spoken kindly to her. And now a human, someone completely outside her world, was doing what her own people never did. Elder Sira stepped closer, her voice tense. "Human, our species bonds for life. The one who activates the markings becomes their anchor, their partner, their protector." Ethan blinked, confused but steady. "And that's bad for her," Elder Sira whispered, looking at Alira with pity. "It can destroy her. Her power is unstable. It was sealed at birth. If it opens too fast..." Alira quickly covered her wrist again. It's fine," she said shakily. "It will fade. Please, let him go. I don't want trouble." Her voice cracked at the last word. Ethan turned to her. "Alira, are you scared of me being here?" She shook her head immediately, but didn't look up. "I'm scared for you," she whispered. "They'll blame you. They always blame someone." Ethan felt something painful in his chest. Why had no one loved her? Why had no one protected her? Why was she treated like she was less than alive? He took a slow breath and said softly, "I'm not going anywhere." Alira's breath caught. She had heard many cruel words in her life, but never this. Never a promise meant for her. Elder Raisin slammed his staff on the floor. "You defy our rules. Humans are not allowed to participate in the bonding ceremony. Then change the rules, Ethan said, surprising even himself. The hall went silent. Alira stared at him with stunned eyes. Ethan wasn't speaking loudly or angrily, just firmly, calmly, like someone who had already made up his mind. The elders exchanged worried glances. Elder Sira sighed deeply. Human, you don't understand. Her power, if awakened, can shake the entire colony. Ethan shrugged lightly. Then I'll help her control it. Alira's mouth parted slightly. No one ever said they would help her. Everyone only warned her to hide, to stay small, to be silent. Elder Risen shook with frustration. You cannot help her. Even we, her own kind, could not. Maybe, Ethan replied. The problem wasn't her. Every alien in the hall froze. Ethan continued, voice steady. Maybe the problem is that no one gave her a chance. Alira's eyes filled with tears, not falling, just shining. Her glowing markings brightened with every word he spoke. Stop! Elder Risen shouted. Human, if you take responsibility for this bond, your future will change. You will not be able to leave her. Ethan looked down at Alira gently. Do you want me to leave? She shook her head immediately, too fast, then looked away. Embarrassed. I don't want to be alone again, she whispered. That was all Ethan needed to hear. He stepped forward and placed his hand over hers, not forcefully, just warm and steady. Then I'm staying. Alira's markings burst into a brighter glow, surrounding them both in a soft halo. The hall trembled. A wave of energy rippled outward as if Alira's sealed power recognized Ethan's decision and responded to it. Elders held onto the crystal. Pillars, some aliens shielded their eyes. The lights in the hall flickered like stars losing their balance. And then, everything went quiet. Alira's markings settled into a stable, gentle glow. Ethan looked around. What was that? Elder Sira whispered, stunned. A stabilizing wave. Something only a true bond can generate. But she has no bondmate, Elder Raisin argued. Elder Sira shook her head. She does now. Alira stared at Ethan, tears streaming down her cheeks. I don't understand, she whispered. Why me? Ethan smiled softly, a human smile full of warmth and pain at the same time. Because nobody ever looked at you long enough to see who you really are. Alira covered her mouth, overwhelmed. For the first time in her life, the empty place. Inside her chest felt warm, and for the first time in the colony's history, a human had chosen an alien orphan, and her sealed power had answered. The energy wave slowly faded, but the hall remained silent. No one dared to move. The glowing patterns on Alira's skin pulsed softly, as if her body was breathing new life. For the very first time, Ethan stepped a little closer, but carefully, almost afraid to hurt her. Alira, are you okay? She nodded weakly, wiping her glowing tears. I don't know what happened, she whispered. I've never felt anything like this. The elders watched with troubled expressions. The ceremony had turned into something no alien history had ever recorded. A human had awakened the sealed power of a broken orphan. Elder Sira finally stepped forward, resting a hand over her heart. Alira, she said softly, there's something we should have told you long ago. Alira froze, her heart beat painfully in her chest. All her life she had been judged, ignored, insulted, but no one had ever spoken about her past. No one had ever explained why her markings were faint or why her power never awakened. She swallowed, even more nervous. What are you talking about? Elder Sira looked at Ethan first, then at Alira. You were not born powerless, she said. You were born too powerful. Alira blinked, confused. Too powerful? Ethan repeated. That doesn't make sense. She can barely control anything. That is because her power was sealed, the elder continued. Sealed. The moment she was born. Elira felt the floor tilt beneath her. My parents, did they do that to me? The elder hesitated. No, it was done to protect you. Elira's breath hitched. From what? Elder Sira didn't answer immediately. She looked at the other elders, who gave tiny nods of agreement. Fear and regret. Your species normally awakens power slowly as they grow, Elder Sira explained. But you were born with power fully awakened. A power far stronger than any newborn in the last 1,000 years. Elira stared at her glowing wrists in shock. Me, strong? No. No, that's impossible. All her life she had been told she was weak, cursed, broken. How could she believe anything else? Elder Sira stepped closer. You are not weak, child. You were simply locked. Elira hugged her arms around herself, overwhelmed. But why didn't anyone tell me? Why did they call me cursed? Elder Ryzen finally spoke, his voice full of guilt, because there was an incident. Elira looked up sharply. What incident? Elder Ryzen's throat tightened. The day you were born, your power burst out of control. It destroyed half of the nursery hall. Many believed you were a danger to everyone. Elira's breath trembled. I hurt people? You were a baby, Elder Sira said gently. You didn't know anything. But your power was too big for your small body, so the healers sealed it away to keep you alive. And to keep others safe. Elira sank to her knees. So I grew up thinking I was weak. Because they were afraid of me. Ethan moved instantly, kneeling beside her. He put a warm hand on her back. Hey, he whispered. You weren't weak. You were just alone. That's different. Elira looked at him with trembling eyes. Alone because no one wanted the risk. No one wanted me. Ethan shook his head firmly. They didn't see you. I do. Her markings responded again, glowing brighter at his words. Elder Sira continued. The seal was expected to break someday when your true bondmate touched you. But no one ever chose you. No alien ever matched your frequency. A sad silence followed. Elira whispered, so I would have stayed. Sealed forever. Until a human touched you, Elder Sira finished. Ethan frowned. Why would I be able to break something your species couldn't? The elders exchanged nervous looks. Elder Ryzen answered slowly. Humans have a strange effect on our energy. Your emotions act as stabilizers. They balance power with instinct. Your species is unusually compatible. Ethan blinked. Compatible? Elira's face turned warm. She looked away. The elders nodded. Double quotes, yes. Your touch matched her energy perfectly. It broke the seal cleanly. No one in our colony could have done that. Elira stared at her glowing hands, stunned. So, Ethan wasn't a mistake, she whispered. Not a mistake, Elder Sira said. A destined trigger. Elira's breath shook again. All my life, I thought I was unwanted. That I was too weak for anyone. That no one would ever choose me. Her voice cracked, soft but painful. But maybe the truth was that no one could choose me. Except one person. Ethan didn't know what to say. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't chosen by fate. He had only stepped forward because he saw someone suffering alone. Look, he said quietly, I didn't come here to be anyone's destiny. But I'm here now, and I'm not leaving. Elira's markings pulsed gently like a heartbeat. The elders stepped back, unsure of what would happen next. Elder Sira spoke softly. Her power will grow now. Fast. She will need guidance, protection, and someone who can keep her stable. Ethan stood up, helping Elira rise to her feet. I'll stay with her, he said. I'll help. Elira looked up at him, hope shining where fear once lived. You will really stay, even after knowing everything? She whispered. Ethan gave a small smile. Yeah, because everyone deserves someone who stays. Elira felt something inside her shift, something warm, strong, and terrifyingly new. For the first time in her life, she wasn't alone. The glow from Alira's markings had barely faded when the mood inside the hall shifted. Fierce, low, and sharp spread through the crowd like cold wind. Young aliens stepped away. Their parents pulled them closer. Whispers turned into harsh murmurs. She's dangerous. She was sealed for a reason. What if she loses control? The human has no idea what he awakened. Alira heard every word. Each whisper hit her like a stone. She hugged her arms around herself, trying to make her glow stop as if she could hide it. But the markings pulsed softly again, reacting to her emotions. She bit her lip to stop them. Ethan noticed instantly. "You okay?" he whispered. Alira nodded fast, but her eyes were full of panic. The elders tried calming the crowd, but it was useless. Fear was louder than authority. One alien, taller and confident, stepped forward. His name was Carthos, one of the strongest young warriors in the colony. He glared at Ethan and Alira with open disgust. "This shouldn't be allowed," Carthos said. "A human interfering in our sacred rituals? Choosing a cursed child? Activating a sealed power? This is chaos." Ethan stepped forward calmly. "She's not cursed." Carthos scoffed. "How would you know? You've been here for 1 week. She's been a burden for years." Alira's breath tightened. She looked down, ashamed like she believed Carthos more than herself. Ethan clenched his fists, but his voice stayed controlled. "Maybe she wasn't the burden. Maybe the way you treated her was." The hall gasped. No one had ever spoken against Carthos before. Carthos stepped closer, towering over Ethan. "You think you're a hero because you touched her once?" "She needed someone," Ethan replied. "And I showed up." Carthos's eyes narrowed, burning with anger. "We don't need humans saving us. And we definitely don't need humans messing with powers they cannot control." Ethan opened his mouth to answer, but Alira gently grabbed his sleeve. Her voice was weak. "Ethan, please." He looked at her, concern filling his face. She shook her head just slightly, as if saying, "Don't fight. Not because of me." But Carthos wasn't done. He pointed at Alira. "That glow, do you see it? Her power is unstable. Today it's soft. Tomorrow it could destroy the whole colony again." Alira's body trembled. "I'm not dangerous." "I'm not." Ethan turned toward her immediately. "You're not," he said firmly. "Don't listen to him." But Alira was shrinking into herself, her shoulders tight with fear, her eyes full of old pain she never healed from. The elders finally intervened. "Enough," Elder Sira shouted. "We must take Alira to the inner sanctuary. The seal is broken, and her energy needs to be examined." Alira took a nervous step back. No, please. Not the sanctuary again." Ethan frowned. "What's in the sanctuary?" The elders exchanged heavy looks. Elder Risen finally spoke. "Pain," he said, quietly. "Heavy restrictions. Testing. Isolation." Alira hugged herself tighter, shaking. "I won't go back there," she whispered. "They tied me down last time. They said I was unstable. They said I was wrong." Before she could finish, her markings flickered wildly, not bright, not dangerous, but frightened. Ethan placed both hands gently on her arms. "Hey, look at me," he said softly. "I won't let anyone hurt you." Alira slowly met his eyes. "Promise?" Ethan nodded. "Promise." Her markings steadied instantly. The elder's eyes widened in shock. Elder Sira whispered, "He stabilizes her without a seal, without training, just with presence." The other elders nodded, awestruck. Carthos, however, looked furious. "This is wrong," he growled. "Humans should never be allowed to influence our powers. This is cheating our traditions." Ethan looked at him calmly. Double quotes, "No. This is helping someone who's been hurt enough." Carthos took a step forward, as if ready to fight. But something stopped him. A pulse of gentle light rippled around Ethan and Alira. The same stabilizing wave as before. It came from her. But only because Ethan was close. The elders gasped again. This bond is active, Elder Sira said in disbelief. And powerful. A stabilizer bond, Elder Risen whispered. Exactly like in old legends. The crowd began to panic again. If her sealed power grows, it will bring disaster. She will explode with energy. She's too dangerous. Alira covered her ears, overwhelmed. Please stop, she whispered. Please. Ethan stepped in front of her, shielding her from the cold stares, the harsh comments. The fear. Enough, Ethan snapped. She's not a monster. She's terrified. The hall fell silent, because this time, Ethan wasn't speaking politely. He was angry, protective. Solid. He turned slowly to the elders. You said her power grows fast now. Fine, then teach her. Solid. He turned slowly to the elders. You said her power grows fast now. Fine, then teach her. Help her, but don't punish her for something she didn't choose. Elder Sira nodded slowly. We will, but she cannot. Do it alone. She's not alone, Ethan said without hesitation. I'm right here. Alira's tears spilled again, silent, shining tears that glowed faintly. She whispered, Why do you stay? Why would you fight all these people? For me? Ethan looked at her with a softness that made her chest ache. Because someone should have fought for you a long time ago. Alira couldn't breathe for a moment. Her markings glowed gently again, this time like a calm heartbeat. Elders exchanged. Looks fearful, uncertain, but also hopeful. Elder Risen finally said, Very well. If the human stays, he must accept the consequences. Alira's power will change everything around him. His future will never be normal. Ethan didn't even blink. Then my future can change. Alira's hand moved, trembling, and she took Ethan's fingers just barely. But the hall lit up. With a soft flash, not dangerous. Not loud, just beautiful. The kind of light that meant one thing. Their bond was growing, and the colony had no idea what was coming next. The hall slowly emptied as the ceremony ended, but the tension stayed behind. Like a thick shadow. Alira clung softly to Ethan's sleeve while the elders guided them toward the outer corridors. She didn't want to walk through the colony, not when everyone stared at her as if she were a walking danger. Ethan stayed close, every step steady and protective. Outside, the sky above the colony was unusually dark. Heavy clouds pressed against the glowing dome that shielded the settlement. Strange winds blew across the fields, carrying a deep humming sound no one had heard in years. Alira noticed it first. She froze, fingers tightening around Ethan's hand. That sound. She whispered, It's wrong. Ethan looked up. What's wrong with it? Before she could answer, Elder Raisin stopped walking. His staff shimmered as he pressed it against the ground. He listened, then his face drained of color. No, he whispered. It can't be. A sharp alarm echoed through the colony, loud, shaking. Urgent. The kind of alarm meant for only one thing. Invasion. Guards rushed to the walls. Lights flashed. People hurried inside their homes. The ground trembled under their feet. Ethan felt Alira's hand grow cold. What is it? He asked. Alira's voice came out as a terrified whisper. The Vorax. Ethan's stomach dropped. Who are they? Elder Sira answered, her voice trembling. A violent species, destroyers. They steal energy, devour power. They hunt anything rare. Elder Risen gripped his staff tightly. They came once before, the day Alira was born. Alira flinched. Ethan felt her shiver and immediately wrapped his arm around her shoulders. What do they want? He asked, fearing the answer. Alira. Elder Sira whispered. They want her. Alira stepped back like she had been hit. Why would they want me? I'm nobody. Elder Raisin shook his head. You are the last child of a rare bloodline. Your energy, when awakened, could destroy a fleet. The Vorax feed on power like yours. Ethan's jaw tightened. So they came to, what? Capture her. Worse, Elder Sira whispered. Use her, drain her, break her. Illyra stumbled back in fear. No. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want them to take me. Ethan grabbed her shoulders gently. They won't take you, he said firmly. Not while I'm here. She stared at him with wide, terrified eyes. But you don't understand. What they can do. I don't care, he said. I'm not leaving you. A massive explosion boomed somewhere far above them, shaking. The colony like a giant fist had smashed into the shield. The ground cracked. The sky flashed red. Illyra's markings flickered violently from fear. Ethan tightened his hold. Hey, look at me. Just breathe, okay? Illyra struggled to stay calm, but her markings were reacting too fast, like her power sensed the danger long before she did. Elder Sira saw this and cried out. Her energy's becoming unstable. We must get her to safety. Another explosion thundered overhead. The colony lights flickered. A sudden wave of dread washed over everyone. Ethan pulled Illyra behind a pillar as debris rained down from the nearby tower. A guard shouted, The shield is breaking. Elder Risen screamed orders. Evacuate the children. Prepare the defenses. Protect the elders. But then, everything went silent. Too silent. A deep vibration cut through the air. Ethan felt it in his bones. Illyra felt it in her soul. A voice cold, metallic, ancient broadcast across the entire colony. Bring us the sealed child, and we will spare the rest of you. Illyra froze. Every alien's eyes widened. Everyone slowly turned toward her. Ethan immediately stepped in front of her. No one is giving them anything, he growled. But the voice continued. Her power belongs to us. Surrender the girl, or your colony burns. Illyra shook her head violently. No. No. I don't want them to hurt my people. They already suffered because of me before. That was not your fault, Ethan said sharply. But if they want me, then maybe I should. Ethan grabbed her hands. Don't you dare finish that sentence. A tear slipped down her cheek. If they hurt you, I wouldn't survive that. Ethan squeezed her hand gently. You won't lose me, he said. And I won't lose you. But the ground shook again hard. The shield above them cracked like glass. Shards of light fell from the sky. And then, a dark, monstrous ship tore through the clouds, descending like a giant metal predator. Its surface was covered in spikes, glowing red lines pulsing like veins. Thousands of eyes, mechanical and alive, scanned the colony. Illyra collapsed to her knees, overwhelmed by terror. The Vorax. They found me. Ethan knelt beside her, holding her tight. Look at me, he whispered urgently. You are not alone. You hear me? You are not alone. Her markings flickered rapidly, unstable. Elder Sira shouted, Ethan! Keep her steady. Her power is reacting to the fear. They'll sense it. Ethan cupped Illyra's face with both hands. Hey! Hey, focus on me. Not on them. Her breathing was fast, uneven. They're coming because of me. No, Ethan said, voice strong. They're coming for what's inside you, but they won't get it. Her eyes searched his face like she was drowning, and he was her last breath. I'm scared, she whispered. I know, Ethan said softly. That's why I'm here. Her markings responded, slowly calming, steadying, glowing with softer light. And for a moment, the Vorax ship paused mid-air, as if confused by the sudden change in her power. Elder Risen stared in disbelief. He stabilizes her, instantly, without training, without tools. Just his presence, Elder Sira whispered. The legends were true. Humans are natural anchors. Ethan didn't hear them. He held Illyra tightly. You're not going anywhere, he promised. And they're not taking you. Illyra leaned into him, trembling, and above them. The Vorak ship opened its massive jaws, preparing to attack. The Vorak ship hovered above the colony like a giant dark moon, its metal plates sliding open to reveal rows of weapons. The red glow pulsed like a heartbeat, cold, hungry, alive. Illyra clung to Ethan's jacket with trembling hands. "Ethan! If they fire, everyone will die because of me." Ethan tightened his grip. "No, they will die because the Voraks are monsters, not because of you." But Illyra couldn't believe that. Not when her birth had already caused destruction once. Not when everyone had treated her like a threat for years. The elders gathered around them, forming a protective circle, though fear trembled on their faces. Elder Raisin raised his staff. "We must get her underground now." But before they could move, the Vorak ship projected a massive holographic image of a towering creature, gray skin, glowing red veins, razor-sharp teeth. Its voice shook the sky. "Surrender the sealed girl, or watch your colony fall." Illyra squeezed her eyes shut. "I can't let them hurt my people, not again." Ethan quickly took her face in his hands. "Look at me." Her eyes fluttered open, filled with fear and guilt. "You didn't hurt anyone," he said firmly. "You were a baby. You didn't choose your power." "But now I'm awake," she whispered. "If they come for me, they'll tear this place apart." Ethan leaned closer, voice steady. "Then we stop them." Illyra shook her head violently. "No, you can't fight them. Your body, your strength, humans don't have the same defenses. They'll kill you." And that fear, the fear of losing him, made her markings spark uncontrollably. A wave of unstable energy burst outward. Ethan held her tightly as the elders staggered back in shock. Elder Sira cried out. "Her fear is activating her core." Ethan calmed her quickly. Ethan pulled Illyra to his chest, wrapping both arms around her. "Illyra, breathe. I'm right here." His voice wasn't loud. It wasn't powerful. It was gentle, warm, human. And that was enough. Her markings slowly softened, dimming into a steady glow. The elders were stunned. Elder Raisin whispered, "A human stabilizes her faster than our healers could dream." Elder Sira nodded. "His presence, his emotions, they are merging with her core energy." Ethan didn't hear them. His focus was only on Illyra. She whispered into his chest, voice breaking, "Why does my body listen to you?" Ethan held her hands, placing them gently over her heart. "I don't know," he whispered. "But maybe we're connected in a way neither of us understands." Illyra felt her heartbeat slow. And then something strange happened. A soft blue light began to glow around Ethan's fingertips. Illyra gasped. Ethan, your hands." The elders leaned forward in shock. Ethan lifted his hand slowly. "Why am I glowing?" The blue light traveled along his palm, then faded. Elder Sira's voice trembled. "It's true. It's really happening." Ethan frowned. "What's happening?" Elder Raisin stepped forward, his face pale. Humans were always believed to be low-energy species, weak, unconnected. But old legends say otherwise. Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Legends?" Elder Sira nodded. "We believed humans possessed something rare, something that made them unique. A kind of emotional energy that no other species has." Ethan blinked. "Emotional energy?" Illyra stared at him, eyes wide. Elder Sira continued. "Humans do not produce raw power like other species. They produce stabilizing frequency, a calming force. Something that can balance dangerous energy and bring it under control." Ethan froze. "You're saying humans are like emotional grounding wires?" "Yes," Elder Sira said. "You are anchors, rare, powerful anchors." Illyra felt tears gather in her eyes. "So, that's why he can calm me? Why my markings react to him? Why my power doesn't explode when he's near?" Elder Raisin nodded slowly. You are awakening because he is your anchor. Without him, your power would overwhelm you. Alira turned toward Ethan, her voice soft and shaking. You're the reason I'm still standing. Ethan reached up and wiped her tears gently. You're the reason I'm fighting. A loud metallic crack snapped the moment. The Vorax ship had begun to break the shield fully. Pieces of glowing protective barrier shattered like falling stars. Ethan instinctively placed himself between Alira and the ship. Alira grabbed his arm in panic. Please don't stand in front of me. You can't stop them. Maybe not alone, Ethan said softly, but maybe together. Alira's markings glowed again, this time not from fear, from connection. Energy pulsed between their hands where they touched. Soft, warm blue light from Ethan's skin. Bright, shimmering gold from Alira's. The lights intertwined. The elders gasped in awe. Elder Sira whispered, "It's happening. Their energies are merging." Ethan felt it too, like a soft vibration moving through his bones, a warmth spreading across his chest. "Alira, what is this?" Her voice shook. "It's a bond wave, but I've never felt one so strong." Energy burst outward, gentle, not violent. A protective wave. A stabilizing shield. The Vorax ship hesitated. There. Scanners flickered. The predators were confused. Alira stared at her glowing hands. "Ethan, I think we're making something the Vorax have never seen before." Ethan took her hands completely, steady and sure. "Then let's make it stronger." Alira's heart hammered. "You're not afraid?" Ethan gave a small smile. "I'm terrified. But I'm more afraid of losing you." Alira's glow spread from her arms to her chest, her throat, her eyes. Ethan's glow strengthened. Two blue threads of energy, wrapping around his fingers and climbing across his wrists. They looked nothing alike. Human and alien, weak and powerful. Fear and hope, but their energies merged like they were designed for each other. Elder Risen whispered, breathless, "He is her anchor, and she is his amplifier." Alira's voice trembled as she whispered, "Ethan, I think together we can fight them." Ethan squeezed her hands. "Then let's show them what a human-alien bond can do." Above them, the Vorax ship charged its main cannon, but this time, Alira didn't collapse. She didn't panic. She didn't break. She stood tall, because Ethan was holding her, and her power answered him. The Vorax ship charged its main cannon, its red glow spreading across the clouds like a storm of blood. The colony lights flickered, alarms wailed, and the entire settlement trembled under the pressure of the incoming strike. Alira stood in the center of the shattered courtyard, her markings glowing brighter than they ever had in her life. Golden light flowed through her veins like living fire. Beside her stood Ethan, blue energy shimmering softly around his hands. He looked terrified, but he didn't step back. Not once. Alira felt his hand slip into hers. Warm, human, steady. You ready?" Ethan whispered. Alira nodded, though fear trembled in her chest. "I'm only ready because you're here." Energy pulsed between their palms, blue and gold, merging into a swirling light. The elders stared in disbelief. The guards lowered their weapons, unsure what they were witnessing. Even the Vorax ship hesitated, scanners confused by the strange energy. Elder Sira whispered, "Their bond. It's beyond anything recorded." Elder Risen added shakily, "This is not an ordinary pairing. This is a galactic rarity. An anchor and amplifier." But Alira didn't hear them, because the Vorax cannon fired. A massive beam of red destruction roared downward, large enough to level the entire colony. Alira panicked and nearly stepped back, but Ethan held her hand tightly. "Don't look at the ship," he said softly. "Look at me." Her heart shook. Her markings flickered wildly. Fear crawled through her chest. Then Ethan placed her trembling hand over his own heart. "Feel this," he said. "This is yours. This beats because of you." Something broke inside Alira, something painful, soft and long hidden. Her power responded, not in fear, but in emotion. Warm emotion. Trust. Love. She didn't fully understand yet. Her entire body glowed, her markings bursting into bright golden flames. Ethan felt a surge of power hit him, but instead of pushing him away, it flowed through him, as if his body knew exactly what to do. Blue light wrapped around the gold like protective ribbons. Together, the lights formed a radiant sphere around them. The Vorax beam crashed into the sphere and stopped. The colony gasped. The elders fell to their knees. Even the destroyer ship glitched in confusion. The massive red cannon beam pressed against their combined shield, bending around it like water hitting a solid rock. Alira stared in shock. Ethan. How are we doing this? Ethan didn't know. He just squeezed her hand tighter. Maybe we're stronger together than apart. The shield pulsed, once, twice, then exploded outward in a shockwave of blue-gold light. The Vorax cannon shattered mid-air. The shockwave flipped several Vorax drones out of the sky. The enormous ship staggered, metal bending under the force. Alira felt something new inside her. Controlled. Her power wasn't wild anymore. It wasn't hurting anyone. It was listening to her. Because Ethan, her anchor, held her to the ground, she lifted her other hand skyward. Golden light spiraled upward, forming a thin beam. At the same moment, blue energy flowed from Ethan's palm, wrapping around hers like a guiding hand. Their energies merged again, becoming a twisting beam of blue-gold brilliance. Alira's voice trembled. Ethan, guide me. I can't aim alone. I'm with you, he whispered. Just focus on my voice. She inhaled deeply. Ethan whispered steady rhythms, soft encouragements, grounding words, human calm. Alira channeled everything, her pain, her loneliness, her hope. And all of it became light. The beam shot upward, striking the Vorax ship directly in its core. The explosion shook the sky. Metal burst into flames. Red lines flickered and died. Hundreds of mechanical eyes blinked out one by one. The Vorax ship cracked open like a giant egg, spilling molten fragments across the clouds. The colony shield reactivated, blocking the falling debris. Silence fell. Then cheers erupted across the courtyard. Guards shouted. Children cried in relief. Elders collapsed in stunned awe. But Alira didn't hear any of it. She felt her knees buckle. Her body trembled. The markings dimmed slowly. Ethan caught her before she fell. Alira, hey, stay with me. She looked up at him, tears in her glowing eyes. Ethan, we did it. You did it, Ethan whispered. No, she said softly. We did it. Her strength faded and she leaned into him completely. Ethan held her close, supporting her fully. Her markings glowed faintly under his touch, calm, safe, warm. Elder Sira approached cautiously. She controlled the power. She didn't lose herself. Elder Rizan was trembling, and the human stabilized enough energy to stop a Vorax cannon. Ethan ignored them. His world right now was only Alira. Are you hurt? He asked softly. Alira shook her head weakly. Just tired. The power is big. Ethan gently brushed her hair back. You're okay now. I've got you. Alira whispered. I never want to do it alone, ever again. Ethan smiled gently. You won't. And then her markings glowed again. But a different glow this time. Softer, warmer, like a heartbeat. Elder Sira gasped. The final stage of the bond. It's activating. Alira looked confused. Final stage? Elder Ryzen stepped forward. When two souls match perfectly, power stabilizes permanently. You will never lose control again. Your energy will always answer Ethan first. Alira's breath caught. And Ethan? She whispered. What happens to him? Elder Sira smiled softly. He becomes what he already is, your anchor, your partner, your balance. Elira looked up at Ethan, tears gathering again. Do you want that? She whispered. A life tied to someone like me? Ethan didn't hesitate. I want a life where you never stand alone again. Elira let out a tiny sound, half sob, half gasp. Her arms slowly wrapped around him. And beside them, the elders bowed their heads, not in fear, but in respect. Because for the first time in their history, a human and an alien orphan created a bond powerful enough to destroy an enemy fleet. A bond born not from tradition, but from kindness, trust, and the simple act of someone choosing her when no one else did. Elira whispered against his chest, Ethan, my whole life, nobody ever wanted me. Ethan held her tighter. That's their loss. I'm here now. And I'm not going anywhere. Her markings glowed bright gold one last time, and then settled into a peaceful, permanent light. Elira closed her eyes, resting against him, and the galaxy would soon whisper the story of the girl nobody wanted, except the human who saw her worth before she even believed she had any.